Welcome back to the Fast Performance Baseball Podcast. I'm your host, Cole Thomas, with my co-host, Connor Reynolds.
Hello.
We missed last week. I had some family matters to attend to, so it was schedule was a little bit wonky. But how did last week go for you, Connor?
Dude, last week went really well. We're going through, and we finally are, we've completed 4 weeks of our Hit Tracks League, so that's been a lot of fun. We have a really good home run race going on right now.
Nice.
We have two different guys that are, I think one guy has like 9 or 10, and another guy has like 8. So that's pretty fun to kind of be watching out for. But yeah, we had a sophomore hit 101.6, so that was pretty neat. And yeah, just getting a lot of exposure on that. And then we also had a lot of PRs.
Good.
A lot of PRs. So I'm going to give some quick shout outs for that. Brady Hirsch, bat speed and rotational acceleration PR. Nate Peterson, rotational PR. Leo, exit velo PR and bat speed PR. Bridger DeCamp has a bat speed PR. Charlie O'Rear has a rotation PR. Edward Huntner has a bat speed PR. Edward has a bat speed PR as well. Ryder Perry has a bat speed and rotation PR. Sam Becker has a rotation PR. Let's see here. Jaden Perez with a rotation PR. Vincent Rosasco with a bat speed and then, exit velo and rotation PR. Eli Jackson has a exit velo, distance, and bat speed PR. Colin Johnson has a bat speed PR. Brooks Delaney had a bat speed PR. Brady Peterson had an exit velo PR and a distance PR. And then Thomas Worth had a rotation PR. And then Liam Murray had a bat speed PR. One of my remote guys that I work with. So really good week. Really good last couple weeks. What about you, sir?
Congratulations to those boys. Nothing crazy on the PR side because we haven't been doing velocity nearly as much.
Yep.
But guys are slowly figuring out what pitches are going to work best for them. They're figuring out their cues. We're recording this on, Thursday, February 16th. We'll probably do live ABs tomorrow.
Yes, sir.
With hitters and pitchers. So we'll finally get to kind of stress test all the things we've been working on and get guys to really see like, okay, how do I utilize this pitch? How do I use it to hitters? What's the best situation for these pitches to go? And then obviously the biggest thing is just, do they develop confidence with those pitches? I think that's the big, especially with kids who are throwing kind of relearning changeups a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Like changeup is such a feel pitch. And I tell guys this all the time. It's in my opinion, probably the hardest pitch to learn because it's so variable. Everyone's changeups are different. Everyone's changeups are, grips are never the same. Grips are, someone's finger pressure on their pinky is going to be different from one other person. And then it's one that's like, if you've got to, at the end of it, you got to have confidence throwing it. If you don't have confidence to throw it, it becomes very difficult to throw it in a game or get guys to really trust that you're going to get out of it what you want. Mm-hmm. So, those are the two big things. Finally get the stress test, everything we've been working on, and get guys ready to just get ready for the season. It's about, 2.5 weeks away or a week and a half away?
It's coming, baby. It's coming.
It's February 16th. So we got I'd say about 2 weeks.
2 weeks, yeah, because they got to get their required practice days in. We had talked, a week ago, 2 weeks ago, something like that. And you had saw something that made you kind of rethink your target positioning with different pitches and stuff like that. And one of those differences was the changeup by bringing up the target a little bit closer to the pitcher.
Okay.
And the curveball was going to, you move the target further away.
Opposite. Flip those.
Oh, flip those? Okay.
Yeah.
I.e. why
so
I
took that from let me make sure I get this right because I don't want to fuck up his name. I was going back through those our ABCA presentations that if you listen to our ABCA podcast, we did not go to a single one of the presentations. We basically just kind of hung out on the trade show floor and mingled with everybody that was there, like all the exhibitors, people we knew from like college or
socials,
all our socials, meeting people that Jason had played with back in the day. So I went back to listen to a couple of the presentations that I was really interested in. So this is from Chuck Ristano. Sorry.
Where's he from?
He's the pitching coach down at Florida State University. So, He's
They
got
kind of know the shit.
18 years of Division One experience, including the last 12 at Notre Dame, and he was just hired as Florida State's coach last July in 2022. So he had a really good how they kind of evaluate and develop pitchers, and it's something that I'll look to do this coming year and maybe into next fall. Is how do we get guys to develop those pitches in that sense of confidence? So the way he did is in their bullpen, they have 3 plates for each mound in the bullpen. So fastball is like the regular 60 feet 6 inches, just gas it up, right? But the big one I really liked was moving home plate about I think it was 66 feet away instead of 60 feet to work on changeups to get guys to get through that target as opposed to trying to cheap yourself out or be babying it. It's just a cue to treat it like your fastball, get all the way through. And I thought that's something I did when I was at Concordia. That was something we did was move our catcher back 70 feet. Just think if you can get it through him. And I've worked with guys. Excuse me. I've worked with guys in the past on kind of things like that where I move the plate back and try to get it to him, right? Where, I had a grandfather of a kid who was 13, 14, or 12 or something like that. It's one of too, where he's not totally at that 60 feet yet. He's still at that 54, and I have him pitching from 60 feet, and his grandpa comes up and says, is that gonna be bad? I'm like, why would it be bad for him? If he's gonna long toss, he's gonna throw further than that. I'm like, I want to force him to throw to that 60 feet because then that makes that 54 feet that much easier.
Exactly.
So it's that, give them a level or times 2 the difficulty of what they do in games and make the game even easier.
That's awesome.
So I like that a lot. I've experimented a little bit with it with some guys who struggle with their changeup, but I think that's definitely something to look if they really need to, develop that changeup or develop a sense of confidence or a cue with it. That's something I'll be using a lot more in the future.
Hell yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome.
So anything else?
Let's see here. Oh yeah, actually, I figured some shit out with the technology side. So for me, I'm always I'm really happy with the setup that I have right now. It's been an ever-going process over the last 2-3 years, test trial, just seeing what works, what doesn't, what's best, what's quote unquote optimal and stuff like that. And one of the things that, and I mean, I think it's a part of me being, I don't know, lazy, or I don't know if lazy is the right word, just not as much free time to be going through and clipping little TikTok videos or Instagram reels, YouTube shorts, clipping those out from lessons. And it's been one of those where I'll write down a note, but then I'll forget at what time, and I don't have the time to go back and relook at it and stuff like that. And so it's been one of the things where I was actually ahead of the curve. So if you go to Instagram, TikTok, and all that stuff, you'll see hitting coaches nonstop posting video of them doing lessons and stuff. And I've been doing that for 2-3 years, but I kind of got beat to the short content of having that sweet little 15 to 2 minute clip. That's why I haven't had those. And the program I use is called Streamlabs. There's been a thing called instant replay, and I've known about it. And I was thinking about it, and I think it's originally I thought it was more so for people that are streaming games, and let's say I make the game-winning shot in playing 2K, or I get the final kill cam playing Call of Duty or whatever it is. How I interpret it is that you would then hit instant replay, and then over the screen it would show that replay. I don't need that. It's not something that we already have the instant replay with hit tracks. My guys aren't watching the live feed of the Streamlabs, so there wasn't a really benefit for me to use that. But then when looking into the description of it, it actually will take the replay, and if I don't have the replay set in the scene, it won't overlay. It won't go over what I'm working on, but it will save that 2-minute clip in a separate file. And so now I'll be able to go through, and let's say I'm mic'd up now too. That's one of the things that I've changed here in the last couple of weeks. I finally found a mic that could do noise cancellation, so that way it doesn't pick up the music that's playing around and stuff like that. So started winning a mic, but I have the ability now to where on my phone there's a Streamlabs like hotkey where there's a button where I hit save replay, and it'll save the last 2 minutes of what just happened as a separate file,
Right.
but it doesn't stop the recording. And so now, like, I just got done. I've done 2 lessons, or I've done 3 lessons already this morning, and I've saved probably like 10 clips of like little like segments of me saying something, the kid making the adjustment. I actually had Thomas Worth mic'd up too.
Mhm.
So he was wearing a mic, I was wearing a mic. So you can hear what he's saying, you can hear what I'm saying. I'm really, really fucking excited. Like
Kind of pumped
really
about it.
pumped. Oh yeah. It's been one of those things, like I said, like that's what I feel like I've been missing. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? And now I have a quick, easy way on my phone. Click, boom, it's done. It's there.
Nice. I like that. Moving on to the main topic today, Connor and I wanted to talk about kind of this is a new pet peeve. We want to go back to the pet peeves podcast, but it's something we're starting to kind of see guys that we haven't seen in a while. All of a sudden realize, oh shit, tryouts are 2 weeks away. I'm not ready. I need to go get in with Connor. I need to get in with Cole before tryouts start.
Yep.
And then they're going to come in and they're like, I need to add 5 miles an hour. Like, dude, we're not going to do that in 2 weeks. I'm sorry. But so we wanted to talk about why it's I don't know how to phrase this, but it's kind of like the Drake album. Like if you're just coming in now, it's too late.
Yeah, it really is, and it's one of those where, like, if you're an athlete doing another sport and that's what's like taking up your time,
I understand that.
like I get it. Is that something where I also have athletes that are playing other sports still come in during that season? Yes, but like that's an like extra thing, right? Like if you
Right.
have the time, if you have the ability, whether it's financially or energy wise, like whatever it is, like we get that. It's the kids that don't do shit. They're not lifting. They're not doing like the little things. So that way, when we do go through and let's say we do a hitting assessment, I need you to be able to make these adjustments in the short amount of time that you are giving me to work with you on.
Right.
And that's not necessarily for a lot of athletes. Like I have one kid that just ended up signing up, and they're, like you said, like they're wanting to add 5 miles an hour of exit velo. They're wanting to do this, they're wanting to do that, and I'm just looking at him like, I'll try. Like,
I mean, that's the only way to think about it. Like,
I'm not gonna
I'll do what I can, but
like I'm not gonna make like I obviously we never make promises,
right.
but it's like normally the promise I make is the amount of energy that you put into this is what you'll get out of it. And right now we're in such a short amount of time that almost any like high amount of energy that you put into this, it may not matter in the time you're wanting it to matter.
Right.
Now, if you're coming in now to start getting ready for the summer, makes sense. But if your thing is I need to be ready in 2 weeks for spring, that's where it's like,
Well, it's just that we talked about like this is your career, and I feel like there's a little bit of a parent. And this is where I try to take the blame off of the parents because the parents got their own shit going on. It's like it's got to be on the player to make sure that you're staying on top of that. Like you want to be this guy, you want to make the team. You need to have started this a long time ago. All right, I have a kid specifically kind of inspired me to think about this topic.
Wasn't the exact quote, I want to gain 5 miles an hour?
No,
Oh, okay.
no. But it was just a player who I like. He's a great kid, good family. But it's like, I asked him, I talked to him the other day. I'm like, what have you been up to? He's like, well, I had football. I'm like, well, did you play basketball? I was like, no. I'm like, well, then where were you? He's like, well, I was lifting. I'm like, okay, well, at least you got that. I mean, he was lifting with a friend of mine that I know who's a very good strength coach. And he's doing that. I'm like, that's cool and all, but like, okay, you're sitting 69 to 71 and all that. You're expecting, like, you want to be a pitcher for your team. Like, are you sure you're ready for this? Like, you've had plenty of time to get ready, but now you're showing up to me the 2 Wednesdays before tryouts start, and I'm like, I don't know, like, are you expecting the world? Or are you expecting to become like the second or third best pitcher on the team? Because that's I know the staff that you play for. You got some pretty good guys on that squad. You're not at the rate we're gonna try, you're wanting to improve, or the rate or the player you're trying to get to is very tough to accomplish. It's very tough to do. That's why I was like, get in early, get in early, get in, start doing this stuff early. This should be almost like a year-round thing. The development doesn't stop, or I
Self
can take this
improvement.
time off to do whatever. I can take, there's and you can take vacations and shit like that. But I'm like, you know, something what I think we'll do better at this year is just be like, this is a lifestyle. Like, what if you want to be the best baseball player you can be? It has to be a lifestyle, and you have to take it seriously, or else the output is not going to match the input.
And one of the things that I want to kind of highlight that you mentioned is talking about like it's not on the parents, it's on the athletes. And I feel sometimes like athletes will take that in as I need to set up the lesson. I need to have my own credit card. I need to have this. I need to have that. And the thing is like, we need you to be invested, not financially, but like yourself. Like, if you don't know what the steps are, but you're sitting there and you're like, let's say let's take that athlete right there, right? So he just gets done with football and he knows he wants to be a good baseball player, right? And sitting there, like, you have so many resources to look up what that next step is. Cause like, I'm the type of guy, like, if I don't know what my next step is or needs to be, I kind of freeze. It's one of those where like, I don't want to go in the wrong direction
Right.
because I don't know what the right direction is. So I'm not going to go anywhere and I'm going to try and figure it out from there of what my next step needs to be. Reach out to Cole, reach out to myself, like, reach out to people and just be like, hey, I don't know what I need to do. I know, like, here's the timeline. Like, the spring season isn't brand new. Like, when you start doing tryouts isn't brand new. Like, we know when that is. So, you know that you have like a deadline on something, right? But if you don't know what that next step is, you need to ask. You need to advocate for yourself. And, like, again, that's not necessarily saying you have to go get a job and make your own money and pay for it yourself. Like, that's not what we're trying to say. What we're saying is you need to take the initiative of finding out what those next steps are, who you can take those next steps with, and how to execute those next steps. And that's the aspect that I feel like so many athletes leave out, that they'll bank on it. Well, my mom didn't do this, my dad didn't do that, my grandma didn't set it up, or this or that, whatever it is. And it's just like, you didn't know what you needed to do, so you did nothing.
Right.
Whereas everyone else, maybe, like, nobody necessarily knows exactly what to do until you find out what not to do.
Right.
And that just takes trying shit out. Like, you have to attempt, you have to look for it to show us that you want it. And then, like, I have one athlete that financially they're not in the position to where they can be doing, lessons and shit like that. And so I told him, I was like, here's the deal, bro. Like, if you're willing to go through, and he had asked me, he's like, I can't be affording lessons. Like, how can I keep hitting with you? And I was like, all right, like, let's find a way. Like, I don't have a program set up for athletes like that right now, but it takes one athlete for me to make one.
Mm-hmm.
And here we are. Like, he comes in, he's updating all my PR boards. He's vacuuming for me. He's doing like a bunch of like little stuff that I don't have to worry about anymore now. He's taking care of it for me. And it's a nice trade-off. And again, I didn't have that program necessarily set up until I had a need for that program. And until the athlete like advocated for themselves, we didn't have that. Now we do.
Right. And what I think we can build off of what you were saying is that, it's like, I like your point. Like, you don't have to be the financially invested person, or you don't need to be the person who drives you. Like, if you can't drive it, like, it's a difficult, right? Unless you can get Ubers or something like that. But
And then
I
now,
don't advocate kids to do that. But it's you've got to be on top of, I need to be, like, here's how much I need to be here. Here's on how I need to get here. Mom, dad, if you can drive me, if I don't currently drive, how can we make sure that I get there as much as possible? How can I make sure that I get, and if you can't get here, I'm like, okay, well, make sure you're on top of your track. Like, if we're putting workouts in, like, we'll put workouts in. If your level of commitment is just not, conducive to how often you can get here.
mm-hmm.
Right. It's like, how often can you get here or is it, are you able to get here? Sorry, as it, not how much can you get here, but if you're unable to get here more than 2 to 3 times a week, all right, we can do stuff outside of here that you can, like, if you can hold yourself to your own account
Yeah.
and do it on your own, then you're going to get that same work in. You're going to get the best work in facility, but you can manage, you can fill in the gaps on your own at home or at
Anything
a
is better
park.
than nothing.
Exactly. And, sitting around playing the show is not going to get you better. You can learn some things, but it's not going to make you better as an actual athlete. It's not going to make you better in, it's not going to fixing your early extension is not going to come by, emulating Jacob DeGrom on MLB The Show, right? You've got to work at that stuff. You can get in with a strength coach and be like, hey, I can't commit the time to get here, but can you give me a program that I can do, at my local rec center or at the 24-hour fitness near
Or
my
in
house.
my room. Like,
Right.
there's so many things that people can do, and like, I mean, I'm not saying that this is the possibility for every instructor or every athlete. Like, I have a good amount of guys that are on my route from my house to getting here. The amount of times I've given kids rides and stuff where it's like, hey, like, no one's free by this time. Like, what can I do? Like, I want to come in. And it's like, dude, I'll pick you up. Like, if your
Right.
parents are cool with it, like, I'll pick you up. We'll come here. Now, you might have to hang out. Like, I'm not going to take you back home until you want to wait till fucking 8 to 11 p.m. at night. But like, if you want to hang out, like, feel free. Like, the amount, like, I offer to all of our guys, like, we have a guest Wi-Fi here. We have enough rooms where if you have homework, you could get that done here while you're waiting for your parents to get off of work, or
Right.
like whatever it is. Like, there's enough space in the turf area where if nobody's out there, like, go get some, fielding in, go throw the tennis ball off the plyo wall, work on some stuff, hit off the tee. Like, there's so many like possibilities that it's one of those where, like, again, until the situation like arises, you're not going to realize what solutions you can create.
Right.
And I think necessity is the mother to all invention, where if I have an athlete that needs to get in but is not able to, we will invent a way for that athlete to make it in. But again, until that athlete is willing, like, I'm not going to go out of my way, pick up an athlete, bring them here if they're just going to like putz around and not do
Right.
shit. Like, if they're not bought in, I'm not going to go my extra mile to making sure that they can get those reps in.
Right. And I think that's where guys get confused by what it is we're looking for. Right.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I'm not looking for you to, be here all the time. Like, I understand you guys have lives outside of here, but it's like,
What?
I know, but it's like, think about, like, so easiest way I think of is like Travis and Grant, who are our two pro guys that have been here with us this offseason. They're not here every day.
No.
They do, but they know enough that, like, okay, here's the days I take my off periods. Here are the days I take, I can go hiking with my girlfriend or my wife in Travis's case, and I can go do this, I can go do that, but I can still dedicate the 2 to 3 hours out of my day. What they come 3 to 4 times a week. So 3 times 3, 9 to 12 hours out of the whole entire week.
Yep.
They can dedicate to come in and lift. They can come in and work on their skill development. Like, you think about it, like, the time it takes to put that work in is not a lot, but guys just don't take it. There are a lot of guys who don't take advantage of it in any real capacity, and they can take advantage, but they come, but then they're like halfway there mentally,
Yep.
right? They're just kind of going through the motions. Right. When I watch Grant swing with you, is like, he does not take a half-ass swing one for a second.
No.
Right. There's an intention to what he does. Same thing with Travis. There's an intention to what he does. There's a reason he's doing something, and he's trying to maximize what it is he does. Like, if you follow, Travis puts out all of his stuff out on social media.
Yep.
The attention to detail that kid has, and I mean, and don't get me wrong, he's a special breed of athlete where he wants to know these things and he wants to improve it. Like, there's some guys who are just naturally talented that just, they get it for whatever reason, they just get it.
Yep.
But Travis is a kid who gets it, but he knows, like, there's way more to this. There's more, like he's not unwilling to, leave a stone unturned. He's unwilling to leave a stone unturned. It's like, if there's something I can do better, or like maximize this. And that's the way you got to look. And that's why I think guys need to look at this sometimes is, it's your career, right? You need to be willing to,
Think outside of the
Yeah,
box.
think
Be
outside
willing
the.
to like be vulnerable.
But it's yeah, be vulnerable and be willing to, you know, test test the limits of what you've done in the past, because that's what maybe puts you over the top. It's what gets you to varsity as a sophomore. It's what gets you that scholarship to that school you desperately want to be getting to. It's that, you know, it's the same. It's kind of a constant cliche in saying that, like, the game just gets harder, right? And you've got to be willing to challenge yourself and challenge yourselves in different aspects. Like 13U is is way easier than freshman year of high school.
Mhm.
You know, by the time you turn into a junior, it becomes way harder. Senior year, then you get to college, and you're trying to, like, if I want to be a pro guy, you know, it's so easy to think, all right, I want to be a high school player. Okay, well, what does it take to be a high school player? Here are those standards. Okay, now I want to be a college baseball player. What are those standards? I want to be drafted. What are those standards? You've got to constantly pick and choose. Showing up 2 weeks before the season, you know, how many pro guys do you think now? I mean, and obviously, we're looking at this in a different sense because the education is so much better now, and athlete education and guys being told, hey, you need to be ready at this time. Here's your show update. Be ready. And guys take that so seriously because now there's millions of dollars on the line. You know, how many guys are taking it, like, their off season start when the World Series ends?
Yep.
You know, they'll go take some vacations, don't get me wrong, but like when they're not on vacation, they're in the gym. They're at their facility that they go do work on their skill work. They're always trying to tinker with things to it. Like, you know, Mookie Betts is a really good example. Like, you know, guy's probably the second best player he's the best player in the game, not named Mike Trout, arguably. And he's at Driveline because he wants to get 5 more miles an hour bat speed.
Yep.
You know, what would bat speed do for Mookie Betts? Who knows? I mean, in the worst case, it doesn't do anything for him. You know, and maybe he loses 5 points off his batting average, but you know, it's that, well, if I could get that 5 extra miles of bat speed, how many more home runs can I hit? How many more runs can I drive in? How many more doubles? How many more triples? Like, and then he just adds value to himself, right? He makes more money because he's already, I mean, I don't know how much more money he can make. He make Dodgers give him more money than God at this point. But, you know, it's like, how can I always improve, right? And if you're just kind of sitting there as an athlete, like, all right, I'm good. And then, oh shit, trials are 2 weeks from now. I better start my training. Better start getting, like, that's just not conducive to what is, I think, most guys' ultimate goal is.
And I think it's one of those too where I think there's a couple of aspects of it. Pro guys, they've seen so many careers or dreams get killed.
Mm-hmm.
Like the amount of pro guys that have gone through, whether it's the minors or just college, like the higher up you go, the more friends that you had with you at the beginning aren't there anymore. And it's one of those where I think the more that you see that the level is increasing, like you mentioned, the less people make it to the next level, then it's like, oh shit, like, you know, you're looking around and you go, okay, like this dude that is a dude just got cut. And he was doing this much amount of work, or he was doing these kinds of numbers. If I'm not above those, I'm probably going to get cut too. And I think at the 13U level, where we, and I say we as just baseball industry, there's so many 13U teams. Like, if you don't like a team, and we've talked about it in the past, you go to another team. If you can't find another team, you make another team. Like, there's so many ways to kind of bypass the fact of, hey, you suck.
Right.
And the higher you get, the more the more that it increases, going from like you mentioned, going from 13U to freshman year. There's a lot of people that get dropped off when playing the game. From freshman year to junior year, there's a lot more kids that quit. From junior year to college, a lot more kids either quit or don't get the opportunity. And then college to professional, it's even more. And it's one of those where if I'm looking around and the kid that sucks is still playing, why do I have to get better?
Right.
Whereas if the kid that sucks doesn't play anymore because they're not good enough, then that's going to kind of drive me to possibly want to do a little bit better. So I don't know if it's the fact that we have so many opportunities for younger kids. And I'm not saying that it's a bad thing that so many kids have, you know, opportunities like they're supposed to. There's a lot of room for failure. There's a lot of room for growth. But understanding that, you know, if you're the worst kid on your team, there's got to be something that you have to do to get better. And until it's a necessity, it doesn't push a lot of kids to look for those next steps
Right.
because they don't need to. There's no necessity for me to look out and about. Like, I think we've talked about it. Driveline started because, like, in my opinion, the reason Driveline took off was because of all of these guys that were high level players that were not good anymore in the game go to Driveline, revamp their career, and it was like, oh shit, like I wouldn't have gone to Driveline if I wasn't
If I wasn't desperate enough.
exactly like you're not going to try new things if you don't need to try new things.
Right.
And until you need to try new things, you're not going to try because nobody likes sucking. And you suck at things that you generally just start off at. Now, whether it's baseball, pitching, new grip, new this, new that, you don't like to suck. And so you're not going to put yourself in a position to suck unless you truly buy into, I need to get through this.
Right. Well, as like you and I talked about last night or the other night, which I thought was very interesting, was like you and I talked about like if you're just not seeing guys.
Oh, dude, I want to do a whole presentation on this.
Yeah, but it's just like if you're not seeing guys like so like what was like our like we're still, and this is just Colorado baseball in general, where we're so behind I think other states, as I think you'll work on. But like you said, like for how many guys in Colorado when they see 90, like, oh shit, that kid throws 90.
Yep.
Like, oh wow, this kid's legit. He throws 90. But then you go to Texas or you go to California, Arizona, it's just like 90's just like, oh, okay, cool. All right, I gotta go compete.
Yep.
Right. So if like like you're saying, if like you've got if there's no incentive or there's no reason for you to improve because you maybe are already the best kid on your team, and then even worse is like you get cut from a team, but instead of thinking to yourself, oh, how do I get better to make that team? It's all right, I'll just go start another team.
Yep.
And then I'll go be the best player on that team. Right. And then then your team's like gets the shit kicked out of it by all the good teams, but hey, I'm the best player on the team. And also it's, if there's no incentive to actually improve your skills or better yourself for the next level, then yeah, you're never going to work to achieve it. Right. And everything's just kind of like, okay, well, I was the best kid on my 13U team, so I guess I'll just kind of walk up and high school is just going to be the same.
So I pulled up the numbers and I'll just go over the senior classes. And what Cole's referring to is the average pitch speed here in Colorado. So a couple years ago, I went back through and looked at every single pitch thrown in perfect game events. And the average fastball for each grade, the high fastball, all that good jazz. So for graduation year of 2016, when they were seniors, the rest of the world or US, the average fastball was 90 miles an hour. In Colorado, for a senior in 2016, the average was 88. Going down to when the high in Colorado was 94, the high in the rest of the United States was 97.
Yeah.
So, and just looking at that small little gap, that small little window, Colorado is behind an average fastball speed by 2 miles an hour. Now, some might say, like, that's not too much. Okay. But if you're going through, and let's use weightlifting as an example. If you walk into a gym and everybody is only, like, let's say squatting 300, let's say 315 to make it a quick, easy 3 plates, right? So let's say everybody is squatting 315. If you get up to 315 on your squat, you're going to look around and be like, hey, I'm right around with everybody. And then the moment you get to 4 plates, you're the top dog in the building, right?
Right.
But if there's another gym that's across the street, if everyone is sitting around 405 when they start, you're just average compared to across the street. But you don't think that, you don't feel that. So you're not going to get used to what everyone else is doing. And so for hitters in the state of Colorado, if you're used to seeing 88 from a senior, like, you're going to start to calibrate and say, all right, 88 is kind of the average. That's fine. Well, all of a sudden you go down, like we said, to Texas, 88 is not the average. like 92 is probably going to be the average. Well, now average guys are eating your lunch and dinner. And it's going to be one of those where like we need to increase that just in general in Colorado. We need pitchers to get better.
It's just
hitters get better.
The biggest thing is just an awareness. Is there's just too many guys who don't have an aware. They're only confined to their local communities, which don't get me wrong, is not a bad thing, but it's it's very limiting.
Yeah.
Like if you only know about, let's just say, like if you're a history professor, I say this because I had a history background in college. It's like, but if your specialty is only the Ottoman Empire, and that's only, sorry about that, the internet cut out in the middle of our recording. But as I was saying, like, do you want to be that small fish in the small pond, or do you want to, or the big fish in the small pond? Sorry, or are you going to be, the medium fish in the big pond, but you are aware of
what's out there.
Exactly. Like if you don't know, like outside of the borders of Colorado, what the standard is, you're not gonna, you're only limiting yourself to how much you can improve, because there's nothing to base yourself off. If you're the best kid in Colorado, you are nothing compared to the best kid in Texas.
Nope.
Like, I mean, go on your point. I was going to look something up real quick.
So I was going to essentially say, like, if let's say we have a fish tank, right? And you could have a really big goldfish in that fish tank, but if you take that goldfish and compare it to like wild goldfish and shit like that, it's going to be tiny. But to that goldfish, it thinks it's the big boss. It's the shit. Like, think of like chihuahuas, right? Like, if a chihuahua has never seen another dog that's bigger than it thinks it is top dog. It thinks it is the shit, right?
Right.
All of a sudden, it meets that bigger dog. Now, it could be like a lab, which is not a considerably like large breed, but compared to a chihuahua, that thing's huge. That thing's massive, and that chihuahua is going to go, oh shit, like you're what's the big thing around. And all of a sudden, it meets like a German Shepherd. It's like, oh, you're the biggest thing around. And all of a sudden, it meets a Great Dane. It's like, wait, you're the biggest thing around. But until you look around and you actually like go outside and look at other communities and other states and how other programs do shit, like you could think that you're the big dog. You could think that you are, the shit, and all of a sudden you're not. And until you find out that you're not the big shit, like I said earlier, if you don't need to get better, you're not going to put in the work to get better. And
right.
If you think you're the best, you're not going to continue most of the time. You're not going to look to continue to keep raising that bar because no one is pushing you to raise that bar. There's no competition.
Right. So I was looking up PBR's site. So I was looking up who are like the top kids in the class in these classes in Colorado, right? So Walker Martin, a kid from Eaton. I want to make sure I get that right. Yeah, Eaton. He's committed to Arkansas. He's the number one player in the state of Colorado. He's the number one shortstop. But you go look at the rest of the class around the country, he's number 12, which, don't get me wrong, absolutely very respectable.
Awesome.
Very respectable.
Good for
right?
You, bud.
But you think like, and nothing against Walker or anything, but like, according to PBR, so I mean, everyone has have their biases and all that. Like, he doesn't even crack the top 10. Like like for shortstops, right? He's the 38th best overall high school kid in his class around the state, or in the country, which awesome for you. Congratulations. But you just, for other guys, you think like, all right, he's the number one player. He doesn't crack the top 10 at his own position
right
around the state. He's number 38. He doesn't crack the top 20 out of all the kids in the country that play baseball, in the class of 23. He doesn't make that.
Now, what I would like you to look up, who's the second guy in Colorado? Where's he ranked?
Mr. Max Stanley.
Where is he?
So he
countrywide.
He is a pitcher. He's the number one. Yes, he's the number one right-handed pitcher
in Colorado.
In the Colorado, he's committed to Brigham Young. Number 2 player in the state. At his position in the 23 class, he is number 79. All right,
that's a drop off. Now,
overall,
compared to the number 1 guy as well.
Compared to the number 1 overall, he's number 282.
That's a
so you think there are 281 players better than Max Stanley, and don't I'm sure I've never seen him play. I'm assuming he is he's a solid, phenomenal pitcher.
Former A&M commit.
Former A&M commit, but you think about in the total, if you're just an average guy, not even a Max or a Walker, Like, how many guys are ahead of you that you just don't realize are ahead of you because you've confined yourself to this limited space of where you excel.
It's like looking at one tree in a forest. Like
Exactly.
if you only stare at one tree, it's got a bunch of branches, but compared to all of the trees in the forest, if you add up all of their branches, one tree does not cut it.
Right. Exactly. So it's, be aware. I mean, so like Brock Eddy, he's a Brighton kid,
Shout out
number
ASU.
number 3 ranked kid in the 23 class.
Unicorn.
Number 2, is he a pitcher? Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
pitcher. Number 2 pitcher, but he's the 80th best in the whole nation at his position. He's number 286 overall. I mean, so there are way more kids than you realize, and like you're sitting there around going like, why am I not getting the looks I want? It's like because there are way more kids ahead of you that those coaches are far more interested in.
And they do so much more. Like I coached at Brighton last year, and the amount of work that like Brock put in, and I can speak about Brock. Like I said, I saw him go through and do shit. Max, I haven't. Mr. Walker Martin, I haven't. But Brock, I have. And the dude's a dog. Like,
Right.
not just a bulldog. Go Bulldogs, 2015. Woo woo. No, he's a dog, dude, and like he gets after it, and he does all of the little things right. And it's one of those where, like, if those are the top 3 in the state, like those are the guys that when you're about to play them, those are highlighted on that other coach's lineup. Like
Yeah.
that is a guy where it's like, hey, we have to watch out for, Brock, Max, Walker. Like we have to watch out for that guy. In the grand scheme of things, like when they go to the perfect game, All American game or whatever it is, like they're not going to, I mean, they're going to be guys that are like, hey, watch out for him, but it's not going to be the biggest level of, oh shit, like Max Clark. He's the number 1 guy in 2023. That's the guy that they're going to be like, oh shit, watch out for him. Whereas the guy that's right after him is really fucking good. Like in that lineup, I don't know who it's going to be, but like the guy that is batting after Max Clark is really fucking good.
Yeah.
Going to get drafted. Not as good as Max Clark.
No.
So like you got to remember there's scopes of everything. And to circle it all the way back to our beginning thing, if you don't ask what steps you need to take, if you don't have the ambition to, if you don't know what you need to do to find out what you need to do, then you don't want it as much as some of these other guys. And we're not saying like these guys want it, and then they also have a very high level of athleticism attached to it. So just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to work. Just because you're a really good athlete doesn't mean it's going to work. You have to have both of them, but you ask the question, is it the chicken or the egg? Like what comes first? And I'll say like, it's the ambition that comes first for 99% of these guys. Like
Right.
all these guys want it badly.
Well, it's that putting it, and it's something I've done a lot. I want to say I do better at for when we do velo nights, but it's thinking like this, like, and it's I hate it because it's cliche, but it's just like playing, like you're trying to train as if every day is going to be kind of like your last, right? So like I had one kid, Braylon Barajas, doing Mount Velo, and I just like he's kind of holding back a little bit. I'm like, I want you to throw this like it's the last time you'll ever throw a baseball, right? Or throw this like your career and your life is on the line. And that's what a lot of these kids that are at the top of at that top level, that's what they do, is they just seem like, all right, I want to play baseball. I want to play baseball at the highest possible level. Like my life depends on it.
Yeah.
All right. If you want to, if you want to be that guy, then do it. But you have to be able to, you've got to be willing to, force yourself to, okay, I got to put myself in uncomfortable situations. I got to go do things that other people wouldn't. Instead of playing Call of Duty or playing the show or whatever, they're at the batting cages or they're with their hitting guy and they're trying to be like always trying to find a way to improve themselves constantly, all day, every day. What can I do better at each and every time I'm there to get that edge over or gain that skill that is like what eludes me, like on the hitting side. Like, how many guys will come in and go like, I just cannot hit a fastball low and away, and then they come in and they're just like a Max Clark. Like, I don't know what his training regimen looks like, but I imagine he sits there and go like, there's a pitch right now I can't hit for the life of me. So I'm going to go into my hitting gut and I'm just going to work at that all day. How much work can I put into get to that pitch that I can't hit? And now I get to the point that okay, now I can hit it and there's nothing a guy can throw me that I can't do damage on.
There was a saying that I saw not too long ago, and I don't recall who had said it, but it was good players do something until they get it right.
Mm.
The greats do it till they can't get it. They can only get it right. Like you never mess up.
Well, you can't get it wrong. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's like, are you doing it to where it's just one time where it's like, oh, okay, I did that. Like I had an athlete that we've been working on. Everything that he does is move forward, swing down. All we do is just chop wood. Ball like won't hit, like go over the L screen, hit the back net kind of shit. And we ended up doing a drill with him that worked really well for him. And the next time I saw him, I don't watch their warm-ups in the cage with them. I watch them through my computer. So that way I want to see this one of those like, what are you doing when no one's watching kind of thing? But like I am watching. So like I want to see what you do. And he didn't do any of the drill. And so we get down, we start with a little front toss action, and right away he beats like 5 balls into the ground. So I look at him and was like, hey, like, did you do that one drill that worked really well for you? And he he's an 8th grader, so don't be too ruthless on him in the comments. But his response was, well, we did that last time and I thought it fixed it. And it's like, yeah, that one time.
Yeah.
Like, today's a new day, dog. Like it ain't gonna just happen because you did it one time. You have to do it till you can only do it that way. And so that was one of those kind of like for him like aha moments of like, oh, I can't just do it one time. I have to do it every time.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah.
Like, yeah, if you can't do it day in and day out, you have not mastered it. It's the same thing with like, oh, I figured out my changeup today. It's like, okay, let's do it tomorrow.
Yep.
How often can you command it? How often can you make a consistent move? And then if you throw it and you're spiking every time, obviously you didn't master it, right? So it's like you said, it's that the greats will do it so often until they can't get it wrong and they can't fuck it up, and that's what I think needs to be that mental shift. Remember, like we're going all the way back to what we originally started on this topic, but like you're not going to develop those skills 2 weeks before the season starts.
Nope.
That if you're starting now, this is a process you should have started 3 months ago.
Yep.
And not, like if you don't like, and I want this kid to make the team or kids who are in the similar situation, but like don't be surprised if you don't make a team or you don't make the team you wanted to make because you didn't put in that work.
Dude, I've had those uncomfortable conversations with all of my guys months ago.
Yeah.
The guys that were in, we sat them down and it was like December. I was like, hey, like the path that we're on right now is not going to get you to where you want to get to. And we have to make that adjustment now. And the thing that I bring up all the time, and I tweet about it, I think I use the analogy all the time in here, is that if you're trying to get the beach bod, right? Like if you're trying to do all the things right, you're not going to like, no matter how much work you put in, if you have like, if you're going on a vacation in 2 weeks and you're fat right now, or not, even if you're not fat, let's just say like you are
Skinny fat.
Yeah. You're that skinny fat, perfect to cuddle with, but nobody asks you to lift shit. It's going to take time. Like there's going to be that period of which there's that transition period. And then once it finally happens, it's going to take off, but it takes time to get there. Like a lot of my guys that are looking to try and, make weight, it's like, all right, you're a sophomore right now. We need to get you to be optimal, the best level that you can be by your fall of your junior year. In my opinion, that's when all these guys need to, if they're not ready by, junior summer, junior fall is kind of like that time. Right. And so it's like, all right, you're a sophomore. We're in December and we need to put together where you are going to gain like 25 pounds here before your junior fall. If you wait till a month before junior fall happens to start lifting, it's not going to work. If you start trying to go 3 months before, it's not going to work. If you try going 6 months before, you're going to start just scratching the surface.
Mhm.
You're going to start just now transitioning your body to how you want it to be. And it's probably going to take an additional 3 to 6 months after that to start truly seeing the gains that you're looking for. So that's a year-long process. So we need to be starting this as your sophomore fall. Like
Right.
we're already kind of behind in the grand scheme of things. And I don't think they realize that transition period, that progress period. I think they think it's just like literally I come in, we change one thing on my grip, I change one thing on my mechanics, and bada bing, bada boom. Like playing MLB The Show, I buy like an Evo Shield guard, and that adds +3 power and +5 contact to my swing.
Yeah.
It is not that easy.
You don't improve your skills just by buying shit.
No. And I think that's that piece where it's like, for me to get my pitches to where I needed to be for by February and March, I need to start working on these in December and January.
Mhm.
For my swing to be where it needs to be for February and March, I need to start working on this December, January.
Yeah.
And that's the piece that they don't get, I don't think.
I will close out this week's episode, with our baseball reference game. Connor, I'll let you go first. Like, get me to guess.
Money. All right. What's your first question?
So we're going to. This is a pitcher, right?
Yep.
Okay. So what years did he play?
He played. Oh, I just had it. There we go. 93 to 2010.
Randy Johnson.
Nope.
Damn it.
Ha. Bitch.
Oh, Pedro.
No.
Damn it. Roger.
No.
God damn. Wow. Okay. Damn. I've been on a hot streak with that.
You have, which makes me so happy that you guessed all those wrong.
What awards did he win?
Let's see here. He was Hall of Famer.
Okay.
7-time All-Star and 2-time Roldalis Relief. Roldalius. ROLAIDS.
Reliever of the year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. You won that twice.
Reliever? Oh, this is Mariano.
Nope.
Really?
Let's go, baby.
1993 to 210. It was a reliever his whole career? Or was he a starter?
Do they have positions down here?
How
reliever his whole year, whole career.
Whole career. What teams did he play for?
Let's see here. He played for TOT. Is that Toronto?
TOT, I think, is total. TOR would be Toronto.
Let's see here. Who did he get drafted by? Let's see here. That's his overall.
Shut up, Bodie. These guys don't hear Bodie. One of their dogs in the facility is barking outside.
Oh, yeah. So let's see here. FLA, Florida. San Diego Padres, and Milwaukee.
Is it Trevor Hoffman?
Yeah.
Ah.
Good job.
Damn it. Took me more guesses than I wanted it to, but no, that was a good one. I forgot about T. Hoff.
Yes, sir.
Second all time in saves.
Shout out Mariano.
All right. Your turn.
All right, let me flip over to my notes. All right. What years?
This man played from 1951 to 1968.
All right, dickhead.
Going old school.
Yep. We're going to be going to all 20 questions.
I don't think you will.
What positions?
He was a center fielder and a first baseman. But I think primarily was an outfielder.
Lefty or righty hitter?
He was a switch hitter.
Tony Gwynn?
Nope. 1951 to 1968, and you guessed Tony Gwynn.
Bro, anything before like 1990, it's all the same.
Oh, terrible. I guarantee people are listening that probably have already figured this out. Or at least have a good guess.
68. What number? Or I apologize. What team? How many teams did he play on?
1.
What number was he?
7 was his primary number.
Is it Mickey?
It is Mickey Mantle.
Ayo.
I was gonna say, I'm like, you should get this. This one's not that hard. So awesome. All right, I think that's probably the earliest you've gotten one right.
It's a record, baby. It's a record. Put it down.
So, all right, Connor, do you have anything to plug?
Yeah, gonna be putting out. I think I've said this the last 3 episodes. Gonna be putting out more blogs.
Perfect.
Now that we're getting a little bit more time, and I've actually have all my PPR data together. Yeah, gonna be putting out more blogs, and then also be checking the Instagram, TikTok, stuff like that. I'm gonna be putting out a shit ton of content. Like I said earlier, I found out how to clip a lot more stuff right away, so going to be putting out a lot of content. What about you, Cole?
I mean, same thing. I mean, we'll be doing live ABs. I mean, now that we're going to be getting,
we'll live stream that shit too.
Yeah,
so tune in.
Live ABs will be
Fast
live
RBI.
streamed. Fast RBI, where they will be live streamed. A combination of my guys, Jason's guys, and your guys will all be kind of going head to head. We'll see who shows up. I think we'll get a good turnout, but we'll see. Other than that, yeah, I mean, we'll see wait for more content on socials to come out since we'll be a lot less busy. One thing I'll be working on this year is to go out to more games. I've already
because you're not coaching.
I know, because I'm not coaching.
Bro, it's such a free feeling. It's so fucking nice.
Mark Knutson, PRA's head coach, told me I'll miss it. I'm like, we'll find.
No,
we'll wait
bro.
and see.
No,
but
no.
But so I've already kind of started looking at schedules for this season. So picking and choosing, like, oh, what games do I want to go to this week? What games do I want to?
Bro, do you want to go and like make it the highlight game, the fast performance highlight game of the week or some shit, and we could like do a little video, have a little fun with it.
Could do something like that, but it's like there's like games. There's like games that like for guys I don't coach that I'd be like, I want to go see that game.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I think our opening weeks like Heritage and like Shap, I think play. I'm like, I'd be interested to see that game.
Yeah, and I think if we do anything where there's like multiple fast athletes competing against each other, I think that'd be fun. Like some fast performance highlights and shit like that.
Yeah. So that's something we'll be looking out for. Something I'll enjoy is just actually getting to go see the people we work with actually go do their thing. Man, instead of I can go watch a game and instead of people like, oh, what's wrong with me? I'm like, well, I don't know, dude. Send me like what's wrong, and then they'll send you a video that's like the worst camera angle possible, and just like, okay, I can't
through 5 chain link fences.
Right, it's like I can't see anything.
Parents are zooming in so much.
It's like I can't see shit in that, dude. But yeah, so that's something we'll be working on, and then social media will kind of kick up a little bit more. So, all right, where can the good people find you, Connor?
The good, the bad, and everybody in between can find me fast_RBI for everything: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. What about you?
Finally fixed my Twitter. I did find out that Cole Thomas Fast was available, so I was pretty pumped for that. So you can find me at Cole Thomas Fast on Instagram and on Twitter, and then you can go follow Fast Baseball on Instagram and on TikTok, and then Fast Performance on. And then Fast Performance CO on Instagram. You can go follow go to the website at fastcolorado.com. That's where you can find everything about us. Please go rate us 5 stars on wherever you get your podcasts. Give us a thumbs up on the YouTube if you're watching there. Okay, now you're over the top. Anywhere you can give us a good review, please go and do that. If you got any comments, don't leave them down below. We'll be happy to respond to them. Finishing all that up, we'll see you all next Tuesday.